What's going on, students? My name's Grayson. I'm the director of our high school ministry here, Insideout, and I'm really excited for this live stream today. And I want to say, if you're new, I'm really glad that you're checking us out. I want to encourage you to go to a Zoom small group after the live stream today. It's going to be really awesome. Hey, last week we had the first ever middle school meetup, and you guys showed up. It was so much fun, and I was just loving getting to hang out with you guys. And it was so much fun that next week we're going to do another one. And this time we're doing a little twist. If you remember last week, we had little zones for each small group. And this upcoming Sunday on August 16th, we're doing an Own Your Zone competition. We're gonna give you guys some stuff to decorate your little area, but I wanna encourage you guys to bring stuff from your house. Bring a Christmas tree, bring chairs, bring lights, whatever you've got, bring it. And whichever small group owns their zone the best is gonna get a really sweet prize. You definitely don't wanna miss out. That's gonna go on August 16th from 7 to 8 p.m. And hey, today we've got a really sweet live stream set up for you guys, but before we get any further in it, check out this video. What's up, students? It's Grayson and Kaiser, and we are gonna be playing What's in the Box, but there's a twist. What's the twist, Kaiser?
We're going to your house. We're gonna show up at your front door. You're gonna play the game. It's gonna be amazing. And hey, if we didn't come to your house, let us know and we'll come there and we'll play a game with you. Are you ready, Grayson?
Dude, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right, Ethan, just go straight in there, man. Tell us what's in the box. You can use both hands.
Oh.
Yeah. What are you feeling?
It's like kind of wet.
Wet? like there's more to it. You can like.
It's weird. What is it? It feels like a cloth.
Feels like a cloth. Like just like get in there, man. Like there's more inside of it.
Yeah. Is it like some sort of wet substance in a diaper?
It's my son's diaper.
I hope it's just chocolate.
There's a way to check.
Little taste test.
Are you brave?
I'm not.
This is the best one. Are you nervous, Ethan?
Just a little.
Just a little?
You said there was nothing live in here, so.
No, I said nothing will bite you.
I can guarantee you at one point this was a lie. But it's been a long day.
Whenever you're ready.
Oh, it's like a McDonald's hamburger. Because I feel the tinfoil wrapper.
Unwrap it.
From Arby's? Oh, wait.
A little more.
Chick-fil-A biscuit.
There you go, yes!
Let's go!
Guess what?
You can have it.
You can unwrap it and eat
Sweet.
it. Man, all
That
right.
is yours, bro.
Thank you.
Thanks
Figured
for
if we were
playing.
gonna have
Is this safe?
It's very safe, Lincoln.
That
Maybe.
doesn't seem promising.
Reach in there and just tell us what's in the box.
I don't what? What the? Oh shit. Oh, okay. Well, that's weird. What is this?
You gotta feel it. You use both your hands and you get in there, man.
Oh shoot. Okay. What? What's happening right now?
No, just go for it.
Oh,
Like use your other hand and just just
this is.
you got straight down.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. What is this?
What do you think it is?
I have no clue. What?
Any guesses?
No!
Yeah.
What is this? Oh, great. A diaper? I don't know.
Diaper. Well, so So you know how I just had a baby?
Uh-huh.
That's my son's dirty diaper.
Okay, of course.
Like, look at your hands.
Oh, okay.
Like that's what you like.
Promising.
Like, take a, you know, like that's.
Well, I mean, I did get it right though.
How'd you feel about that diaper?
No.
No? All right, this is the best thing.
Okay. It's pretty light.
Well, you have to pick it up. You gotta go for it, man.
Okay. There's lots of things I really don't know how bad this one could be. The heck? What? 2 hands? Okay. It's like something wrapped in something. Like what?
You can open it up.
Oh, that would make more sense. Oh, like ground beef?
No, it's not ground beef.
Okay, that's good. What is this? Why you give me that look? Okay, you know what? Smells weird.
You have any guesses?
No!
It's a chicken biscuit from Chick-fil-A.
Oh!
Just ripped it in half.
Now it's ready to share.
You can eat it. That's for you, man. That's all you. Thanks for playing,
Okay.
Lincoln. Chicken biscuit on us, man.
Cool.
Well, hey, thank you so much for everyone that played What's in the Box. You were great sports and you made that video hilarious. But hey, before we get any further in our live stream, I want to tell you guys about something really cool. So pull your phones out real quick and text this right here to 41411. What this is going to do is it's going to set you up to be subscribed to Transit's text chain. Now this is really cool because you'll get updates about all the cool stuff going on in transit that you don't want to miss out on. So text that real quick and it will take just a few seconds and the reward is so worth it. Another great thing you can do is follow Transit on Instagram at this handle right here. Very similarly, you'll get updates and you'll see sweet pictures from all the different events that you guys are going to. It's definitely cool. I follow them, so you should follow suit. Hey, this week we're kicking off a brand new series called Popular, and it's about how you can use your influence to influence your friends and the people in your lives. And today, your middle school director, Kaiser's got a really awesome message prepared. So get ready for this, and I'll see you guys later.
Hey everyone, I'm so glad that you are here with us today as we are kicking off a brand new series all about influence called Popular. And to start off today, I just want to ask you guys this question. You can think about it in your head, you can type it in the chat if you want, but I want you to answer this question. Who is the most popular person on the planet right now? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Now, there's no telling who you thought of. You know, you could have thought of Taylor Swift or Drake or an athlete or whatever. Any of these faces are about to pop up on the screen right now. And I can guarantee you that almost no one has the same answer. No one thought of the same person, most likely, because some of you are probably thinking of names of football players or basketball players that you guys like, or some athletes, or some of you guys thought of musicians, or some of you have even thought of influential, popular YouTubers, or your actor from your favorite TV show or the movie that you love the most. But here's the thing, when it comes to something like fame, when it comes to something that we think of people who are super popular and the most famous on earth, we all have different ideas of who that person is and who's in first place. But why is that? Well, it comes back to really what's important to us. You know, if each of us has a different idea of what is important, and if you're not into sports, so you're probably thinking that basketball player isn't that famous. Or if you're not really into fashion, you know, the most famous designer doesn't mean really much to you. Or if you've never seen a Marvel movie, you really don't care who played Iron Man in the movie. But it all comes back to all these things that they are popular, they're just not popular with you. And because of that, those things or those people don't have influence over your life. Influence is the ability to have an effect on someone else. It's the ability to affect someone else's behavior, thoughts, or even their choices. And while we may not all agree on who is the most popular person on the planet, we can agree on this, though, that popular people have influence. Popular people are the people that the media is looking at. They have a bunch of followers on Instagram, and people are watching their every move and seeing what they say and what they do because it matters to those around them. The popularity gives them the ability to lead or influence people. Whether they're close to those people or even they're just followers on social media, they have the ability to influence those people. Like for me, guys, I can remember back in high school, it was a big popular trend that I was influenced by so much, it actually changed the way I looked for a little while. And some of my friends even jumped on this fashion trend. And it was this. We would grow our hair out really long, and we would take a thin headband, and we would just get our hair out of our face and just push it straight back. I don't even know where it came from. I don't know who started the trend, but I can tell you one thing. Our entire soccer team in high school did it. Other soccer teams were doing it. Other people just around the planet were doing this. Professional athletes were doing this. Like there's a picture of David Beckham that's going to pop up, and it's literally like this is what we look like. And I was influenced so much by this that I changed the way I looked for a year or more. My hairstyle was this way, but it was because someone somewhere started a trend, and I was influenced by it, and so were the people around me. And influence is a funny thing. Influence is a funny thing because a lot of us wonder if we even have influence. We define that, and we say you have to have either fame or popularity to have influence on other people. And most of us have neither of those. Most of us aren't super famous. Most of us aren't super popular. We don't have that. But maybe you feel like you don't have much influence because you are not sure what you have to offer. You feel like you don't have it all figured out. So you don't really know how you can lead or influence other people. Even if you don't feel like you have influence, or maybe you feel like you do have influence, you find yourself maybe even asking this question. You ask yourself, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, how do I lead people? Where should I be pointing people to who I may be influencing? Because I don't really know. Or maybe you're watching right now and you've not really put a lot of thought into if you have influence or not. You've just maybe assumed that you don't have it because you're not a famous YouTuber or you don't have a lot of followers on Instagram. And it never occurred to you that even you have the power to influence and lead others. Here's the point. We tend to think of influence as this big, unattainable thing, something that's only reserved for the popular people, something that's only reserved for the people who are famous. But we're quick to recognize the influence they have, but we often miss the influence that we have. Because there's always someone in your life that you have influence with, whether that be a sibling, whether that be some friends, whether that be some people in your small group. There's always someone in your life that you have influence with. And you need to be able to recognize that you have that. And here's the thing, the questioning if we have the power to influence people is not a new thing. Wondering if we have the ability to lead and influence other people is actually something that many people have thought about and struggled with a long time. And here's the thing, and I'll even show you what I mean. We're going to go look at an account from the Bible written by a guy named John. And in this account, it's going to be during a time of Jesus' ministry where he had a really amazing, influential moment. And what happened here was this was the moment where Jesus was talking to literally thousands of people, and they started following him because they really wanted to hear what he was about to say or see what he was about to do. And as we pick up today in John chapter 6, in this chapter, we're going to see that Jesus is just focused on one important thing. How is he going to feed the thousands of people who are following him and this crowd that he has a following of? So in John chapter 6, verses 8 and 10, they say this. Then Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. There's a young boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what good is that with this huge crowd? Tell everyone to sit down, Jesus said. So they all sat down the grassy slopes. The men alone numbered about 5,000. So let's pause here for a second. John just wrote that there were at least 5,000 men there, and that wouldn't even count all the women and children that were following Jesus at this time. And can you imagine, there's a lot of hungry people around, and they all looked at Jesus and say, hey, you have influence. You're kind of famous. You have thousands of people following you. And by the way, we're hungry. What are you going to do about it? And that's when Andrew, a disciple of Jesus, he just speaks up and says, hey, Jesus, I don't know if this is going to help, but I found this little boy, and he has 5 loaves, he has 2 fish, and the problem, Jesus, though, is this boy didn't come prepared to feed thousands of people. He just came to feed himself. And then Jesus did something that I think probably shocked everybody in that moment. He said, okay, just tell everyone to sit down real quick. And we're going to see what happens next after everyone takes a seat. So picking up in verse 11, it says, then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks to God, and distributed them among the people. Afterward, he did the same thing with the fish, and they all ate as much as they wanted. After everyone was full, Jesus told the disciples, now gather the leftovers so nothing is wasted. So they picked up the pieces and filled 12 baskets with scraps left over by the people who had eaten from the 5 barley loaves. So Jesus' disciples took this young boy's lunch, took his dinner, and it was 5 loaves of bread, it was 2 fish, and they gave it to Jesus. This boy gave it to Jesus, and Jesus prayed over it and just started handing out the food. Now, if I was this boy, I gotta be honest, I would probably be super nervous because I just said, yes, Jesus, you can have my dinner. I don't know how much this is gonna help with feeding all these people, but absolutely, this is what I have, I'll give it to you. And I'm sure the boy's getting pretty nervous because he's like, there's only a little bit of dinner. There's only a little bit of dinner here, but to feed one person, not the entire crowd. And at first glance, here the kid, the young boy, he didn't have enough to offer. He didn't have enough food to offer. He didn't have enough food to give. He didn't have enough to do anything worthwhile for these people. But all he had was just his dinner, and that was it. But still, this kid said yes to Jesus. When Jesus asked him, hey, can I have your dinner to help with these people? The kid just said yes, and he trusted Jesus. And so what happened after that was Jesus just kept passing and passing and kept passing out the food till everyone was full, until there was so much left over that a miracle happened, and there were 12 baskets of leftovers that after all these thousands of people ate until they were content, there were still 12 baskets of food left over. There's so many amazing things about the story. There's so many really awesome parts of this from where the boy said yes to Jesus and Jesus did the miracle, but I want to zoom in on this one part. I want us to focus in and just look at this one part that Jesus could have done anything, could have performed any miracle to feed this crowd. I mean, he is Jesus. He could have made, bread just rain from heaven. He could have called fish just to jump out of the sea and flop onto everyone's plate. But instead, he used the boy's dinner. Instead, he asked a young boy who only had enough food for himself that hey, would you be willing to trust me and let me perform a miracle to feed a ton of people? And Jesus saw that the young boy had something to give. He saw an opportunity that he could make an impact for other people. And Jesus chose this young boy to partner with him in a miracle that was going to happen. But by doing that, Jesus made this boy's dinner into so much more. It was more than just feeding a bunch of people. And so we're going to continue reading in verse 14. It says, when the people saw him do this miraculous sign, they exclaimed, surely he is a prophet we have been expecting. The people saw what Jesus did and what this kid brought, and because of it, they started to believe in him. They started to believe in who Jesus was. And could Jesus have done all of this without the boy's dinner? Absolutely, he could have. But instead, he chose to use someone willing, someone who said yes, someone who said, God, I'm willing to trust you with this, and you can take what I'm willing to give, no matter how little it may have seemed. The kid wasn't super important or popular. He wasn't out in the crowd and people didn't know, maybe they didn't even know his name. The Bible doesn't even tell us his name. This kid was never intended for him to be an influential person. But Jesus saw him, and because the kid's yes, I want you to catch this, because the kid said yes, because he brought what he had, because this little boy brought what he had, Jesus allowed him to be a part of influencing thousands of people. Because this little boy said yes, Jesus was able to use him to influence thousands of people. And I want every one of you to know this, that if Jesus could use a little boy 2,000 years ago to feed and impact 1,000 people, he can use you just as you are. He can use you with what you're willing to give, no matter how big or little it may seem. And it's because of this, because Jesus can use whatever you have to do big things. Jesus can use whatever you have to do big things. You don't have to be popular. You don't have to be influential. You don't have to have a ton of followers. You just have to be willing to say yes and trust God that he's going to do something amazing with it. And if you don't believe me, I want you guys to check out this story from a high school student who attends here. Her name's Hannah Gross, and she has an amazing story about how Jesus used her to do something really meaningful and significant. I want you guys to check out her story.
Hi, my name is Hannah Gross, and I am an upcoming junior at James River High School. Just for a little bit about myself, I love dogs, I'm a football fan, I'm on the debate team, I'm also a show choir kid, but most importantly, I really love Jesus. And on a deeper level, I've never been the most popular or confident person in the world, but I've learned that God can use us and can use what we have despite our inadequacies and despite what we think about ourselves. And so that's actually a little bit of what I'd like to get into today, specifically in regards to how we as students can truly make an impact on the community, nation, and even world around us. And so a good example I have of this is actually recently. When COVID hit, I was sitting in my room, of all places, scrolling Instagram, and there was just a video that popped up. And this video really moved me. It was of a group of people, a group of Christians actually outside of a hospital, singing Waymaker and praying, and just for the people who were suffering. And I just sat there, I was like, I have to do something. I was almost in tears. I was like, I can't keep sitting around doing the same thing every single day. I have to get out there and do something. And so with that in mind, I prayed. I was like, God, I don't know what you're asking me to do. I know personally I can't do this without you, Lord. I pray that your will would be done and that you would help me to be able to see what it is you were calling me to do in this time and in this moment. And so, I went through a couple ideas. The first idea was a super big idea. I want to do the same thing in the video at a local facility. And I ended up getting told no with that one because it was a little risky, the idea in regards to COVID. And so after a couple setbacks and after lots of prayer, the 24 hours of prayer idea actually came to fruition. I talked to some mentors and I just felt that this is what God was asking me to do and putting on my heart. And so from there, I just reached out to Journey and I reached out to my grandmother's church and we got the idea running. And as simple as it was, all the idea is just I wanted to put a 15-minute time slot for people to pray. And in that time, I wanted them to be able to pray for healthcare workers, for those suffering with COVID. And I really wanted to emphasize prayer as a conversation that's simple with God. And I wanted it to be something where people from all walks of life and every point in their faith would feel comfortable just being able to talk to God and ask him for healing for what was going on in our world. And so with that in mind, both events ended up taking place and over 500 people ended up signing up to pray. And more important to me than that number was just the feedback I was able to see from that. I actually was sent a picture of a young 3-year-old and she had her hands in prayer, and that melted my heart because I absolutely love kids. And other than that, some of the stories I heard of just how God was able to move through people during this event, it left me speechless, and I still get chills sometimes thinking about how God took me, a 16-year-old student with one idea, and was able to bring about so much change and so many positive things just from that. And so overall, what I'd like to emphasize is that when it comes to doing things for Christ and his kingdom, it doesn't matter how you see yourself, your circumstances, what you think you can or what you think you can't do. All that matters is you being willing to say yes, saying yes to God and leaving him with the rest. In essence, just being able to say, God, I'm here. I'm willing to do what it is you would have me do. And so I would encourage you to kind of think about it. If there's something that's on your heart or there's something you've been wanting to do but have been fearful of doing it, don't let that hold you back. I would encourage you just to trust that whatever you have in yourself, God can use that. And he can use that for so much good and so much more than you could ever even imagine. He can truly use us as students to make an impact in our community, nation, and world. And so I thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. And again, I truly believe that we as students can be game changers for Christ if only we are willing to say yes and step out on our faith to take those next steps.
Guys, I love what Hannah said. All you have to do is say yes. And because of Hannah's yes and her desire to do something in the midst of coronavirus, she was able to rally over 500 people between 2 churches for an awesome prayer event. And it just started from Hannah just saying, God, I want to do something. This is what I can give, this is what I can do. And God used her, just like he used the boy in the story, and their influence to reach others around them. And the thing is if you're just willing to say yes, and if you're willing to say, God, this is what I'm willing to give for the good of others, and you come to the table with that, he will take it. And he's going to do something awesome with it. He's going to use your influence to reach and impact those around you. And Jesus can use whatever you have to do big things. And I want you guys to see that today because it starts with this first step. The first step is recognizing the influence you have. The first step is recognizing the influence that you actually have. And we all have influence, whether it's with your family, whether it's with your friends, whether it's with some teammates, whether it's with your siblings, well, no matter what it is, maybe it's someone in your small group. but we all have influence. And influence doesn't have to be thousands of people. Influence doesn't have to be a dozen people. But if you have the ability to lead one person in your life in a positive direction, that's influence. So you just need to recognize the influence you have. And then the second thing is, once you recognize the influence you have, is be willing to do something with what you have to offer and then say yes. And that's the biggest part is it doesn't have to be a big event like Hannah, like organizing a big prayer event. It doesn't have to be feeding a ton of people, but it's just when the moment presents itself, you say yes. It could look like you spending time with your siblings. It could look like you writing an encouraging note to someone who may be going through a rough time. And no matter what it is, you just need to say yes to it. And today, I want you to use the influence that you have to lead someone in a positive direction. And so as you are heading off to small groups about to have a conversation, I want to remind you that Jesus can take whatever you have and do big things with it. And when the opportunity presents itself, that you will say yes, that you will step up and be bold and say, I am going to do what I can. And Jesus, I'm going to offer this to you. This is what I'm willing to give. This is what I have to bring to the table. And Jesus, will you do something really awesome with it? And so to jumpstart your conversation in your Zoom groups, I want you to think about this question. What is one area that I have influence in? What is one area that I have influence in? Hope you guys have a great time in your Zoom groups. Let me pray for you, and then you can hop in to your group. God, we come to you now, Lord. We thank you for today, God. Thank you for everything you've given us. God, thank you for your son, Jesus, who died for us. And God, right now I pray that in this time that we're about to go into our groups, that we have a chance to talk about influence, God, that you will just remind us that we're all leaders, God, that we all have influence with someone. And God, I pray that you would give us opportunities to say yes to whatever it is in front of us. God, that we would say yes. God, that we would be willing to do something to lead other people in a positive direction. God, I pray for a great time and conversation in small groups. I pray for no hiccups to happen. Pray for no dropped internet connection, no dropped calls. But God, I pray at the end of the day that you will be glorified through everything. In your name we pray. Amen.